Good morning.
My big, not big, my beautiful baddie cupcakes. There we go. I'm not editing that out. You want to come say hi, Bill? Today I got a little man here with me today.
With the pizza pie shirt.
Yeah, the pizza pie. What is
That's
weirdo. Get out of here. Go eat your food. Go on. All right, eat your food. Hey, no. You're gonna make me dad voice you. All right, so today we have Melina with us. I'm probably just gonna hold this thing because I know I'm not talking into it. There we go. So we got Melina with us today. I kind of wanted to talk to you. You're really, really young in the tattoo industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that presents a whole unique set of challenges. Oh, but first off, I want to say I'm very, very jealous. Honestly, I waited all the way until I was 24 before I really started taking this seriously. I wish I would have taken this a lot more serious, coming straight out the gate. So, I guess my first question would be: Do you realize how lucky you are? Do you feel lucky?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know if I keep working towards tattooing and everything that I've been working towards, by the time I'm your age, 10 years from now, I'm going to be really, really good
Right,
at what I do.
Yeah, you'll have surpassed myself, and I mean, obviously, I'll be more experienced by then too, but you'll have way surpassed where I'm at this age at 30, So when you're 30, if you stick with this and continue and you be relentless, then at 30, you're gonna be doing some crazy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe be on Ink Master or something.
Maybe not that far.
I would honestly. I just want to point this. I want to say this on camera that I do not believe in Ink Master. I think it's the stupidest thing.
You can't tattoo that fast.
You cannot tattoo that fast and then be under that kind of pressure
and expect it to be perfect.
That is not how this works at all.
The timer's fake. They've already released that the timer on Ink Master is fake.
They do. They talk. Yeah, I've been hearing that too. But there's no way. It's all staged. It's got to be, especially. And then it's
And then some of them tattoos that they do in 6 hours are 15 hours or more.
Yeah,
tattoos.
and then they're doing head tattoos and stuff, and if the client craps out on them, it's their problem, and it's man, that's no. So he keeps trying to mess with his camera, and he's not going to. Leave it alone. We're recording right now. Okay? Gosh, shouldn't have to tell you this, man. Alright, so do you, as a younger tattoo artist in this industry, this is such a hardcore kind of esque industry, do you think it presents different kinds of problems? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So what would some of them look like?
I know my first problem was, even though I had been tattooing for 3 years, because I was only 19, nobody wanted to hire me other than you. Because you didn't ask my age. You asked how long I had been tattooing and if I had tattooed before asking me to come in.
Right.
And then since I've been here, I've had a couple clients that, because I'm younger than their kids, they don't want me to tattoo on them. Or I have people that, because I'm as young as I am, they expect my tattoos to be better than some of the older people's tattoos because I should have a steadier hand. And there's certain people have higher expectations, and then certain people
It's like a backwards.
don't expect anything.
It's like a backwards ignorance.
There's not much of an in-between there.
I feel like that's so backwards. I think as a younger tattoo artist, you have to understand that they're a younger person, they're less experienced, and you have to give them a little bit more grace than you would someone that does have a lot of experience.
That's been doing it for 5+ years.
Right, yeah, but in that, yeah, Hannah's coming in, which is great because it is actually, today is Friday the 13th, which is super cool. Good morning, Hannah.
It's June Friday the 13th, which is the actual day that Jason was born,
That's freaking.
as well as it's the only Friday the 13th in 2025.
I want to point, except for the fact that Jason's not an actual real person.
In the movie, that was the day he was born.
You are in the video now. You keep interrupting it, actually.
Kind of started on your hand. Started on Okay. Yeah, we can do
But
that.
yeah, so I mean, it's a fictional person, but yeah, it's
Still really cool.
that is really cool. Is that it actually falls on his birthday today?
And then it's the only one this year.
So it's a crazy, crazy day. We got a podcast going on.
A flash sale.
It is summertime, so I'm also doing the dad thing. He's only here for this podcast. I wanted to record it on Friday, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, we've got this flash sale going on, so it is a crazy, crazy day. All right, so how long have you been into this?
I started tattooing at 16 and I'm 20 now, so 4 years.
4 years, okay, and then how long professionally inside of here?
I have been here since August 12th last year, so
Yeah.
almost a year.
I want to point out,
A couple
too,
months off from here.
I want to point out, too, that all tattoo artists have 2 different dates. We all have a when we started and did our first couple tattoos, and then when we actually took it professionally. There's there's the amateur tattoo, and then there's the professional
Yes.
tattoo dates. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
How
just-
long have you been amateurly tattooing?
The same thing. I started when I was 16. I did my first one when I was 16, and I'm 30, so it's 14 years. And then I started the shop in 2019. The very first Relentless Tattoos Facebook post was 2019, August 21st, 2019, and so we're coming up on 6 years in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to do a celebration.
Is that 6 years or 5? I don't know what that actually.
2019 to 2025, 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah. So, yeah. So it's been a wild ride. This is the third shop. Yeah, I do have plans on the fourth, but not necessarily that I want to move this one. It's more just that I want to expand onto Relentless Tattoos and try to, and not necessarily franchise the Relentless Tattoos aspect. To be completely honest, and this is the first time I've ever said this on a podcast or even publicly on camera. I want to turn Relentless Tattoos into Relentless University. I think that tattoos needs to evolve and take a professional route. So like with barbers and stuff like that, this is kind of where I adopted the concept too. But with barbers and stuff like that, they have salon schools and barber schools, and you have to actually have a license involved. Yeah. Whereas tattooing, everyone thinks that there's a tattoo license, but that's not how it is at all. You know, it's just you got to take your bloodborne training, and then you got to have your certain health department codes and whatnot.
And then your
Yeah.
shot records. And
Right,
make sure
yes.
You are okay.
Right, and make sure that you took your jacket off. You want your jacket back?
Yeah, but it's kind of like funny on the back.
Put your jacket back on. So that's what I think that we need. And in order for tattoos to really start to take a professional sense, you're interrupting again. In order for tattoos to take a professional sense, that's where it needs to go. Just like the barber schools and the salon schools, we need to start having tattoos as schools. And there's a lot of people that are going to hate on me for that because they're like, "No, I need my apprentices so they can clean my shop." Yada yada yada. We need to get away from that. It needs to be a certified degree. It needs to be. There needs to be financial aid. There needs to be life rebuilding programs for people that are getting out of reincarceration and want to take this seriously, and then they have a degree and they can prove to the shop that they've spent 2 years or whatever working on this and they've actually performed. So that's really where it's not necessarily that I'm trying to get rich off of tattoos or that.
I honestly feel like it would also make getting more clients easier
Absolutely.
because it's so hard to get regular clients.
Yeah. It definitely would be, because then you would have a piece of paper stating that you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you would come out of school with a really nice portfolio. And then what's also really nice about it is then we could help with job placement. Yeah, we could put artists into a position.
Where we are more trained in that field, but still know other things.
Right, yeah.
Because I don't understand artists that only know how to do one thing.
Right, it would be a very general, kind of broad spectrum of,
Yeah.
hey, you need to learn American traditional, you need to learn...
I did my first American traditional tattoo
Right.
the other day.
You need to know the meanings and the in and outs of Japanese traditional, because a lot of that stuff has like weird meanings and stuff behind it.
And you have to have the specific colors and
Yes,
a specific
yeah.
spot,
Yep.
the shading, and
And
certain
then
spots.
also all of like the background courses too, where I think there should be like a social media class,
And advertising.
advertising,
Yeah.
content creation class.
Stuff that would help us not only in tattooing, but in keeping the clients and the regular.
But also even like a telecommunications, you know, because I have to do a lot of telecommunications,
Mhm.
talking to people, and then graphic design, all this, you know,
Yes.
business management, all this kinds of stuff, where you could do it all kind of in home and really, really actually teach somebody how the ins and outs and where to go. The things that I try to show you guys, you know, without
More in depth.
right, and then it actually be a classroom style setting, but also a hands-on, and you know,
Almost like a chemistry class where you learn about it and then you do it.
right,
And-
absolutely, yeah. And I just think that that's where, in order for tattoos to be more widely accepted and really take that professional aspect, that's where it needs to be. We need to have. Hey, I went and spent 2 years and studied this, and I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you said, it would be a lot easier for someone new trying to join the industry, saying, "Hey, I already have this degree. Here's this whole portfolio that I put together while I was in school, and I've even now." Even though I know all these basics, now I also have figured out what I want to specialize in.
And which ones they're not as comfortable with.
Right.
Because every artist has one specific style that they're not as comfortable with.
Right. Yeah, or
And-
even I think it even falls down to particular techniques that they're not comfortable with. Okay, so like a realism artist generally is not going to do a bunch of American traditional, and the reason being is because their line work usually isn't what it needs to be. Usually a realism artist has a very paint-esque flow, and they're constantly doing their pendulum shading, and they're back and forth trying to keep everything really, really soft. Whereas if you take a realism artist and try to make them do hard, bold lines, they're gonna mess it up. Yeah, and then so it's like it's not necessarily that you fall into necessarily a style. It's more just that you start to realize what you're good in, technique-wise, what you're good and what you're not good at, and you start to follow that. So, like me personally, my stipple shading is always I can never get it to be consistent as what I want it. Like I can do stipple shading, but it's like in the very beginning, it's like I have to teach myself all over again, you know. So then, like the beginning of the tattoo or the beginning of my stipple shading will look more scratchy, and then by the end of the tattoo, I have it figured out, and it's like that every single time for some reason. So I try to genuinely stay away from stipple shade, whereas Hannah nails it every single time. and she's really developed that and incorporates it a lot into her tattoos.
And see, I also feel like if you're going to like a tattoo university or a school setting with other tattoo artists, you can talk to them and like you'd be able to talk to Hannah and be like, so what do you run your voltage at?
Right.
And how do you
Right.
get it to do that way?
Right.
And then she can ask you questions about certain things that you do, and it'd be a area that tattoo artists would safely be able to like
trade information.
yes, without thinking it's just going to be used against them.
Right. And that's a lot of what I try to tell you guys when I bring you guys in. I think everyone expects this to be a classroom style setting with a whiteboard and we're sitting down and we're working on stuff, and it's not like that. It's not like that at all. This is a let me bring you into an environment and teach you a lifestyle and guide you and whatnot. And I think that it would be, even if we were to run as a university, it would still very much be like that. I don't know that there would be a lot of whiteboards or anything like that. I think it would be an open layout with everybody around in their own little spots. And it's, hey guys, we're going to try to do a full color flower on a piece of practice skin today, and we're going to work on that.
And then you gotta figure out how to do the different textures.
Yeah, I think a tattoo university would look more like an art class.
Yes.
Than an actual. Let me get this whiteboard out and let's draw on it and work and write.
Like a math class.
Yeah, it's a different style of a class.
Yeah.
Now
I thought of chemistry. You thought of art.
Now, like I said, there would be different classes. There would have to be a business management, which there would be probably a whiteboard. It's a lot of math.
Because especially with the advertising or the money classes,
you
have to have that whiteboard there to help
But
draw
then,
out and explain.
But then if you did a content creation class, then that whole class would it would be more like a theater class. There'd be a stage set up and cameras everywhere, and microphones.
Yes. A tattoo university would take different things from normal classrooms and then spin it to fit what we need.
Yeah, I think that would be great for people. And then,
it helps a lot.
And again, I would love the idea of having financial aid. Yeah, so then it would help with people. Because right now, and I'm very aware of how it is, and I try to be as graceful or forgiving as I can about it. But right now, when I bring you guys in, it's you have to pay rent, and that can get difficult, especially as you're trying to learn and build your clientele, and then also buy supplies, and then you're also trying to buy more equipment.
And then last week, I had 3 clients get sick within the same 4 days of each other.
Right, and that kind of stuff happens. And as a younger tattoo artist, there's not a lot you can do about that. You don't have a whole lot of other clientele that you can call.
And I was in the middle of moving, so I purposely only had a few people scheduled, and then they all got sick.
Then whereas a tattoo university that would definitely be more of a walk-in kind of deal, or we would have this rating list, and so and so needs a canvas today. Would you like to come in? Yada yada yada. And obviously all the free touch-ups.
I also feel like if it came down to doing a tattoo university, one of the hardest parts about it would be just like you here. Most tattoo artists don't want to be bossy and tell other tattoo artists what to do, just because we all have our own individual things that makes us and our tattooing style unique. And that's why you pointed out you're not really our boss, but you still help us. You're our mentor.
It's a mentorship, because this is so much more than just a job.
It's a family.
Right, yeah. That's I think people get so caught up in that. This is our job, yes, but there's so much more to it because you have to take it. You have to go home and work on it and do the extracurricular activities around it, drawing and social media and answering the messages and all that good stuff.
And then if you don't answer the messages fast enough, you don't get that client.
That client will disappear.
They
Yeah.
won't leave.
Yeah,
So,
as soon as that lead comes in, you need to jump on it.
and
Otherwise,
then you're sucked into a long conversation
Yep.
for a minute.
for a good hot minute, yeah. And yeah, you have to constantly be on top of that stuff. And if you're not constantly on top of it, your next week is going to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that having a university to help the younger artists get going, start collecting the clients, because also it would hand a lot of clients to you, and then a lot of those people might end up following you out of there, and
Because
so
they'd be able to see how you went from the beginning to the end and your learning process.
Right. And what I would, as a shop owner, it would be so much easier to hire. It would be so much easier to hire if I could just call a school and say, hey, I need, a list of your next 3 graduates I would like to talk to. And that would make it so much. And then hey, they're coming to you with a decent little bit of experience. They have a long way to go still, but they have their iPad. They have
the starter stuff that
right.
when most people start an apprenticeship nowadays,
It takes a lot
6 to 8 months to get the bare minimum.
to get your toolbox and your chair and your armrest and a decent machine,
and then the iPad,
and all of that, and the inks and all of that stuff. It takes a little while to build all that up. Whereas
and then
if you had
looked through my Amazon history, and I have bought a pair of gloves or a box of gloves every 2 weeks for the past 3 or 4 months.
Right. Whereas if you had financial aid that was feeding the college or the university, a lot of that stuff would be taken care of for you already. Yeah, a lot of that stuff would be, or maybe not necessarily like the chair and toolbox. Like you would probably still have to buy that kind of stuff when you left school, but your machine would already be taken care of. Like we could honestly put together like a
starter
pack, yeah,
instead of like the ones that people get on Amazon where it's a crappy machine,
right.
crappy.
No, this would be a good machine.
A good starter setup.
And we could even put it in like a catalog, even to where like not everyone had the same machine, but maybe you had like 6 different machines they could choose from.
Yeah. Choose the machine, and then they get the needles and the setup for that machine.
Yeah, I think
that'd be neat.
So that's ultimately like the long-term goal. But again, I need to open more shops and have a little bit. I need income. Basically, I might need a lot of income to open this, and Kokomo is not the place. I would really like to be in like the Lafayette or the Indy or Carmel area in order to do something like that. But again,
you said something the other day about if you could, you'd open up a shop and we'd all be in Miami.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
Anywhere south, I've heard that anywhere south, they all love to get tattoos.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'll just like screw it. Let's go start a school in like Houston, Texas, or something. Like that was a random like thought that I had in my brain the other day. I was like, what if we just like all of us collectively were like, you know what, we're done with Indiana. Screw it. We're shutting the shop down right here, and we're gonna take all of our stuff, put it in a U-Haul. We're all gonna get a 5-bedroom house down south, and then we're all just gonna start all over. Could you imagine? It wouldn't be that hard. It really wouldn't.
No, not especially with all of us.
Not with all of us. It really wouldn't be hard. The biggest problem with that would be is the kid. That would be.
She'll never know.
Honestly, though,
never know.
if I just told her like, hey, we're going down south, do you want a bedroom in this giant ass house? She'd probably be all for it, honestly. Yeah. Anyway.
We don't have tiny houses.
Just go buy a whole trailer park. We're gonna be the trailer park boys, girls, boys and gals.
You and your son are the only boys.
Yeah.
And then Thomas.
And Thomas, yeah. I know the collective. I think I'm going to bring in the co-host for things like this. I really need like a cameraman, co-host, and just like a general help me the hell out, kind of person. So I've been kind of looking around for one. And we've tried it before with, and that's how we ended up with his desk and all that. We've tried it before. But now I think I know what I'm looking for this time. I need someone that's a bit more readily available and not necessarily trying to make it like a full-time gig. But someone that also understands that this is content creation and that there's money involved in growing this. So more of a partnership is the way I'm going about it. Instead of trying to actually hire someone and then pay their wage, it's more of a partnership. Like, hey, you help me build this. I'm cutting you in the future. So there's so many different aspects that we are trying to grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you as an artist? Where are you trying to take off to later down the road? I don't expect. I know when I hire people into here, when I bring people in, I'm very aware that my time with you guys is limited. Like I can't keep you here forever. I can't keep you locked in this cage for forever. Eventually, you're going to grow.
You sound like a parent.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. But I also try to offer you guys plenty of opportunity to build within the company too. Like we've talked about this before, to where if either one of you wanted to. Eventually, you were like, "Hey, yeah, like I want to go open my own shop. I would love for you to do so. Take the name with you, And I'll even.
We've already been advertising before.
Right. Yeah, you've already been doing it all this time. You already know exactly what to do. So like, take the name with you, and just create more shops that, and then I'll even help you with doing so. We can go in. We got really good with the construction part of it and making sure that all the codes are up to date and knowing how to get your needles recycled and yada yada yada, all the stuff that you guys wouldn't necessarily know because I just kind of take care of it for you.
Yeah, you just kind of do it.
Yeah, I just kind of, because I've been doing it. Well, I mean, there's also a hot minute where it was just me, so I'm just kind of used to doing it all. I'm not really, having to. It's not that I was trying to keep you guys ignorant by any means. What actually happens with needle removal is there's a company, and I tend to bounce around between companies because it always ends up fluctuating like in prices and stuff. But whenever our needles end up needing emptied, I will go around to these different companies and I'll look and see who's got the cheapest price, and they send us. I'm good. They send us a really big Sharps container.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like in a box, and then you just dump them out and send it off. And they end up weighing it and telling me how much is charging my card. Yeah, but I mean, here recently it's been getting, and it was just me. It was like maybe $25 every 6 months. It wasn't that bad. But now, there's a lot of us, and we're really going through some needles, and it does get costly sometimes, So, there's just a lot of, like, behind-the-scenes stuff that would love to be able to help you guys with, take off.
I know, my eventual goal is to either be in Tennessee or Georgia.
Yeah.
And open up my own shop.
See, I also want to go south.
I've always wanted to go south.
Like, I want to do, like, some Indianapolis stuff and then try to kind of deal with that. And then right after that, go south. Yeah. So kind of when
you also moved here from Alabama, didn't you?
No, I was raised here. I moved to Alabama for a little while, is what happened. And
so you still had already had the want to go south.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like everybody that grows up in Indiana wants to get the hell out of Indiana. And then I just happened to have an opportunity. And granted, it actually took a little bit of convincing even for me to want to like leave my family and all that, but not a lot. So then when I had the opportunity to get the hell out and go down to South Alabama, I jumped right on it. And if I would have went for the right reasons, I see that, bub. I'm in the middle of something. If I would have went for the right reasons, I probably would have stayed. Honestly. Yeah. Went for the wrong reasons, and then he was conceived, and we came back for family. To be completely honest. Hey, Triton, please stop. So as far as your tattoos go, do you see yourself taking like a specific style?
I have found that I do really, really good with color. Even though when I first started here, I hated doing color. I hated it. And you told me to do the things that I hated because then I would figure out how to do it more and I wouldn't hate it as much. You said if you hate it, you're not doing it enough.
I mean, yeah.
And you told me that with color, hand tattoos, all kinds of stuff. And then the more I started doing everything, the more I'd get used to it. And I found out that I am very, very good with color. And I never would have expected that.
Yeah.
I love doing the black and gray creepy tattoos, but then I can pull off some really badass color tattoos.
I think all of you have kind of taken like a color. I think it's just a feminine part, It's like we like color tattoos, whereas I don't. I can't stand it. It's not that I can't stand it. That's a little extreme. It's not my forte. It's too time consuming.
And yeah, they do take forever.
They do. They take forever, and I'm such like an instant gratification kind of person. Like, with black,
you like to put the black and it just be there.
yeah, with like black and gray, it's like you get your line work done, like boom, gratification. And like you do some shading, boom, gratification. Then you do some white highlights, boom, gratification. Whereas with color, it's like, let me
put
do
this color here, and then this color here, and then this color here, and then you gotta put a little bit of this color here just so it looks right. And you're like, took me 2 hours to get this spot color.
Right, yeah. And then if your color is off
by a little bit,
the slightest, any sort of skin tone or anything is off in the slightest little bit,
you can tell.
It'll take the whole tattoo off. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Especially if it's a character or something that's already
that's supposed to be a specific color in a specific way.
Right. Now I don't mind color in like American traditional, or a lot of tattoo artists get pissed off when you do a full black and gray piece. And then
you got to finish my stitch.
Yeah, we're eventually going to have to color that up. He looks really good though.
Yeah.
But a lot of artists do get really upset when you do like a full black and gray piece and then you add the pops of color.
And see, that's what we're doing with this. She's doing the flowers in black and gray and then my lizard in color.
And I actually like it, especially as a tattoo artist. I think it really does.
It makes it pop.
Yeah, and it's like, give the people what they want, like if it keeps happening, that's what they want to see. Like, tattoo artists get so hung up in that, like
making your client the tattoo they want and giving it to them the way they want it, and then getting bashed for giving the client what they want.
Yes.
It happens so often.
But there's also the sense of like, yes, we are artists, and I understand the aspect of this is my art, and I want it to look good, and stop. I want it to look good, and I understand, or I want it to look good, and I understand that it's my name that is attached to the art. right?
Yeah.
So like I totally understand that aspect of it. But the flip side of that is this is a service for people,
Mhm.
and it is a lifelong change to
Something
their
that-
body.
They have to live with
Right.
for the rest of their life or pay a whole lot of money to get
Right.
it removed.
So it's like you have to, as a tattoo artist, you have to find a common ground. Not everything is about you. Not everything is about your art, you know?
Just like when I have the clients that don't want me to add any color or any shading, but it's a design that was meant for one or the other.
Right, yeah. It's
I don't try and talk them into it. I just
right.
give
It's like
them what they want.
yeah, it's like a homework kind of aspect. So, all right. Well, that does mean that we need to end up wrapping this up. Thank you, Melina, for kind of sitting in this morning, this afternoon. I'm gonna get my kid out of here because you want to come say bye. That's not bye. There we go. All right. Get your booty out of here. I'm gonna throw something at you. No, actually, don't call CPS on me. All right. Thanks for viewing this. This is episode 7 of the Anti-Cupcakeism podcast. Please like, share, comment. Tell all your friends about us. Tell all your friends about Melina. Tell all your friends about Relentless Tattoos. Please come see us, Kokomo, Indiana. We are a Mad Rabbit ambassador. If you're trying to get some Mad Rabbit products, that is 20% off at madrabbit.com. Promo code Relentless20 in all caps. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Peace out.